Howdy guys, welcome back to the Bar Steelers. So we're going to look at the player ratings for the players that played, obviously. So Nick, Darren Randolph.
Well, Randolph didn't have much to do. Thought he could have made himself a bit bigger for the goal, but that's a little bit harsh, you know.
Yeah.
Give him a 6. There wasn't much to do.
Six.
Lovely save in the first half, but I'll go for a 6. There wasn't a huge amount.
Didn't have much. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
6. He didn't really do much, to be honest. Which, you know, we're giving out about it a lot, but the Georgians didn't create much. They passed the ball.
No, they passed the ball around, but they didn't create it.
Yeah. Right back, Cyrus Christie.
Christie, to be honest, thought he was caught out of position a couple of times, and the Georgians didn't even spot it. Again, showing that we made them look very good. You know, had a lovely overlap in the last 10 seconds of the game and was completely wasteful with it. But you know, I thought he looked solid. I thought he's a pretty good replacement for Coleman. Probably go with a 6 again. 6. You know, nothing unbelievable. I thought he was a bit scrappy in possession, but you know, again, he got stuck in, and you know, he's our second choice. So I think that's the way we have to look at it too.
I think he got a little bit sucked in on their goal towards the player, but that may have been to do with the fact that Whelan got the ball went by him. So I'd agree, maybe a 5 for me. Just because of that. Other than that, I think he thought he went up and down up and down the wing quite well, and put a good bit of pressure on. So yeah, maybe a 5 for me. Shane Duffy,
thought he was fantastic. I mean, again, I'm probably being over. I think we can be a bit negative. We're disappointed with the result. I think we've every right to be negative. We're disappointed.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's times he needs to just lift his head, take a touch. There was times he was in a lot of space and had a lot of time, and he just hoofed it. That's my only criticism of him. Apart from that, he headed everything away. Which is fantastic. You never know, another player could have flapped at things, scored the goal. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah,
give him a 7.
Completely agree with that.
Again, if we won the game, I'd probably be giving it an 8 or 9, but we'll go for a 7.
I'd agree with that. I slated him during the week, just saying how his positional sense wasn't great, but I thought he had a very decent game. He headed everything away, like you said. Every ball that came in, he was straight onto. Got the goal.
He was my Irish man of the match. I think one of the Georgian fans will probably be more deserved.
What was his name?
Something Georgian.
Yeah.
Spartak Moscow guy, or Georgian or Russian or Georgian or whatever, since too good. But he would have been my man of the match. But in terms of an Irish man of the match, I would have gone for Duffy, certainly over James McLean.
Kieran Clark.
Kieran Clark, again, and probably under instruction, you know, was hoofing things left, right and centre even when he had time on the ball. Didn't really put a foot wrong, to be honest. I think, you know, for the goal, him and Duffy were a little bit liable to that. You know, nothing too amazing. Watched his men quite well. We'll go for a 6, I think.
6, alright. Stephen Warder at left back.
So, the one thing that annoyed me about he's a hugely improving player.
Yeah.
Why isn't he making the overlapping runs? Is he under instruction? I don't know. He made no overlapping runs. You know, played a couple of aimless long balls, and in stoppage time for a couple of throw-ins, rather than showing a bit of urgency, he was walking around as though we were 1-0 up.
Yeah.
And that just got to me, because I thought, you know, this guy is getting in because apparently he shows a lot of heart. And I think he's very lucky to be in the squad. I think he's playing well for Burnley, but he hasn't played well for Ireland. I thought he was poor against Austria.
I think he's greatly improved from where he was a couple of years ago.
Look, compared to what he was, I mean, I was looking at a stat a couple of years ago, and I can't even remember the percentage, but a huge percentage of the goals came up his wing when he started. Where that's kind of died down a little bit. He was caught out of position a couple of times. He wasn't overlapping. He wasn't showing any kind of urgency with those. I know it's small things, but with throw-ins like that. Having said that, he got stuck in. He was on the back post a couple of times for the Georgians, watching his men well. But you know, I think he's a better player for Burnley than Ireland. Again, I'll go with a 6, because I think I'm being overly harsh on him. But there was a couple of times I just thought, why isn't he doing what a left back should be doing? But look, I'll give him a 6.
The back four in general, would you lay the blame at their door for the whole, after we went 1-0 up, everyone kind of stepped back? Like, where does it, you can't really blame O'Neill for that, because he's not on the pitch. I mean, he has to be kind of forcing them out, but
Yeah.
it must be between some of them. They all took a step back. So, would you put that at the back four?
Well, I mean, we've no ball playing centre half. The best ball playing centre halves we have available are Mark Wilson, who's played about 2 games in 2 years, so he's nowhere near. And Declan Rice, who's still only 18.
Yeah.
You know, there are 2 best ball playing centre backs, and they're nowhere near the squad. So when you have 2 kind of traditional big physical centre backs, you're always going to play a little bit of a deeper line. Where if you play with a ball playing centre half, like Georgia had 2 of them, you can push on a little bit. So I think it's down to the personnel that was picked, but I think they're under instruction. In terms of Christie and Ward, I think Christie's very good going forward. Ward, look, you know my views on him. I don't like slating him. I think he seems like the nicest fella ever, but being realistic and, you know,
he is our only proper option at left back, though, other than maybe Greg Cunningham, who's kind of injured. But he is he's playing in the Premier League week.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and as I said, like he's fantastic for Burnley, and Burnley play a very what some people think is a similar system to Ireland, but it is a very different system. It's a lot more structured. They play a much higher line than us. You know, it's the same as Harry Arthur. He
bombs on for Burnley. Like,
he's given that license.
Chelsea when he scored that screamer.
Yeah, he's given that license, and I think that's one of the things Sean Dyche has done. He's really improved Ward's game in terms of getting forward. I remember a time when Ward would get the ball and just pass it back to the centre half, or boot it long and kick it out of play. So look, he's improved, but look, he's our only option there, really.
Moving into midfield, so we'll start with the midfield too. Harry Arthur.
Poor, and I heard on the RTE, post-match analysis that they're saying how Eddie Howe's Bournemouth passed you to death, and Arthur is one of the kind of architects in that. I don't think he's benefiting. But look, again, I seem to be bashing Glenn Whelan a lot, but I don't think any midfielder has benefited from playing beside Glenn Whelan in the last 10 years or so. Might be harsh to say, but look, I'm probably a bit annoyed at the moment. But like, Arthur suffered beside him. He was, he should have been playing a bit more of an advanced role. He was playing far too deep for my liking anyway. Was wasteful in possession. Again, that's not Whelan's fault that he was wasteful in possession, but seemed to panic and didn't seem to really know what his role was today.
Yeah, he didn't.
In terms of rating, I'd be giving him a 5. I mean, I would have kept him on longer than Whelan, but I'd be looking at a 5. I thought he was very wasteful and just looked a nervous wreck.
I thought his pressing and the pressure he was putting on the Georgia players on the ball, he was one of the only people, probably the only midfielder who did it.
But the pressure wasn't high enough. That's the only.
That was high enough. I don't think that was his fault. I think that was everyone stepping back, and he was trying to go forward, and he was the only one up at some points supporting Shane Long as they kind of tried to close him down. But I think other than that, he was extremely wasteful on the ball, which is completely unlike him.
Yeah,
he's they said on RTE playing for Bournemouth. It's all
Look, I
little passes. So
I think Arthur benefits from a midfield 3 or in a diamond, not in a flat defensive 2, and especially not beside Glenn Whelan. McCarthy, people slate him. If you watch him for Everton, well, he hardly plays for Everton, but if you watch him for Everton, he's a different player. I think McCarthy is suffering beside Whelan, and now Arthur is suffering beside Whelan. Why not pair the 2 together, or put Arthur maybe on the left or right of a holding player rather than in a flat 2?
Fair enough. So you settled on a 5. I'll probably give him a 4. So Glenn Whelan.
Okay,
and let's be fair to Glenn Whelan. He's been an incredible servant to Ireland over the past 10 years. But today, he was shocking.
Look, he hasn't had a good campaign.
No.
I think, again, it comes back to management. I think O'Neill has to be stronger there and say, look, his time is up. Because, as I said, I see people online, I speak to a lot of people, I was one of them until quite recently, that defend him down to the ground. And I'm just probably doing as much analysis as I can to see what can Whelan be defended on anymore. In the past, I would have said he closes a lot of space off the ball. I think
the pass was everywhere. If he'd be following the ball around constantly. If the ball came loose, he was there to tie it up. and then over time, like, you know, his legs aren't going now. He was really well liked by the Stoke fans.
Yeah. But he's playing in a different system in Stoke. Again, like, it's a different system in Stoke. And again, our argument was that at this stage we've we've players in his position that can do exactly what he does, but more. You know, as I said, like, I keep looking for excuses to praise him, and in this whole campaign, whether we've won or drawn, I just can't pick them out anymore. As I said, the only positives I've seen in the last while have been that he's good off the ball. He does get stuck in. As you said, there was a time maybe when he was a bit fresher, he'd pick off the scraps in front of the back four if the ball was loose. But I'm just not seeing that anymore. He's there's been a few times he's put in some really important clearances that probably don't get a mention. There was one in particular against Austria where the ball kind of broke loose in the box, and he kind of just calmly took it in his stride and played it out. And there was one in the home fixture against Georgia that he cleared. But again, that didn't really get much of a mention. But I'm just struggling to see the positives out of it.
I'd say one positive thing today was they were on the counter, or they're on the attack today, and he came up with a great tackle just outside the box. That was the only
that was fantastic
thing that I kind of. And when he did it, we all kind of went, "Oh yes, Whelan!" But then we kind of, because like we all really want him to go, because
we want him to do well, because the reality is he's always going to be getting picked.
Yeah,
so we might as well get to like him.
Just didn't, you know. But today just
Look, I think this is his last campaign. You know, you've got Myler, you know, coming back for Hull. You've got O'Kane, who's
Rice coming in.
Rice is playing in midfield now. You know, there are other options there. McCarthy will come back in, and I always say, and it's going to sound harsh, and again, there's a lot of people defending him, but I just can't pick out what they're defending him for anymore. But I think when McCarthy comes back, Whelan has to be gone, and I think we're a better team without Whelan. We beat Germany and Italy without it.
On a rating for Glenn Whelan, just if you had to put a number on, a figure on it.
Just like, I don't know what he did today. I don't know what position he was playing. No. I thought he was playing literally as a holding midfielder right in front of the back four, but there was times he was literally up beside Shane Long pressing and not pressing well.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be giving him a 3, but for that tackle in the second half, it's a 4, and it's going to sound harsh, and people will give out, and people will say he's a great servant and he does all these things you don't see. I'm quite an analytical fan. I watch things off the ball, and he did nothing today.
Yeah, he was poor.
And I'm not a manager. I'm not O'Neill, and it's probably not for me to say, but he did nothing today. Apart from that tackle.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 3, and probably that the tackle has brought him up to a 3 for me.
Yeah, generous 4 for me.
We are going to do a video about Glenn Whelan and kind of the alternatives to him in the next couple of days, so stick around for that. Ahead of him, I'll start on the right, John Walters.
Well, in fairness to Walters, and it's been the case in the campaign, when he has him in up front, he's been used almost as a second right fullback.
Yeah.
And I think I said earlier that at one stage Christie was positioned right out in the sideline, Walters was inside him, and then it was Duffy, so he was actually almost playing centre half tonight, like at stages rather. Look, it's getting to the stage where Walters is just kind of being used as a battering ram when he's used out wide on the right. I prefer him up front in his own, and I think he should be starting up front in his own. I think we'd benefit more from a natural winger like McGeady or Horgan. We need the creativity there.
Yeah.
Walters is a fantastic player, but he's not creative. He needs to be put up front in that role.
Yeah, for me, I think you're right. He was a bit kind of almost playing as a centre back for their goal. He was standing in the box, like, you know, it's not a position for you'd expect to see John Walters. He got a couple of flick-ons and a couple of, you know, tried his best, as I expect. It was just his 50th cap today, so fair play to him.
And a great player, as I said, like, he's fantastic, and he'd be one of the first names in the team sheet, but just not on the right wing. Not on the right wing.
So for me, I'd probably give him a 5, because he was just didn't really influence the game, didn't take anything away from the game. So.
Yeah, 6 for me. I think it didn't do a huge amount, but I don't think it's completely down to him.
On the left, James McLean. RT gave him man of the match.
Yeah.
Now. I didn't think.
Not for me. And look, they're the experts. They've played the game.
I think it's just Johnny Whelan. That's it. I think it's just whoever's on goal commentary.
Yeah, like
Johnny Whelan.
Yeah, like, and I mean, I haven't played professionally, so I'm not. I probably can't really argue. Well, no, not quite. Looking for that Portugal cap, but no, I didn't. I thought McLean was fantastic in the last 15.
Yeah.
Show what he's all about. Got a lovely right-footed effort away on his bad foot, and you can see exactly what he was trying to do. There was nothing odd. He forced the corner, that we could have maybe gotten the goal out of. And in the first half, it looked like a bit of a lost cause, and he literally flicked the ball over his head and got it to long. So a couple of fantastic things like that. But off the ball, he was flying, not slide tackling, but flying into challenges, overcommitting himself. And on 3 occasions that I picked out, he overcommitted and completely sold himself and was smoked by the Georgian lads. And thankfully, the Georgians were so wasteful.
These tackles that he throws himself into, like, I remember one against Austria, he took the ball, he's commanding everything. I mean, yeah, this is brilliant. But there's also like
the space that's on.
I remember against Austria, Arthur was standing with 2 yards. He's playing a nice pass there, and it is great. Now, like, there's a time and a place for me, and he just hasn't.
He hasn't got the control. I don't think he's the most. I think he's a very intelligent man. You know, because you can see him in everyday life, the things he does. He's a very articulate person, but as a footballer, I don't think he is the most intelligent footballer in terms of his judgment. And that's why it baffled me that he went into central midfield. But there are times when I think he needs to maybe not take a notch down, but to use up here a little bit better.
I think that as he gets older, I mean, he's 26, 27 now.
Yeah.
But as you do tend to get older, you do kind of tend to, the red mist doesn't come down as much. It's not really a red mist, it's more like he's just so driven and he wants to work so hard and do things for Ireland. But there's also you go, okay, that's brilliant, but you need to control that as well.
So. I mean, I think he's quite sloppy on the ball.
Yeah.
But then there's times that he absolutely smokes players, and he did that a couple of times tonight. But I think just because he was, he scored against Austria, and just because he's got such heart, I don't think he should be immune to criticism.
No, I agree with that.
And I think the media and a lot of the fans are making him immune to criticism.
And that could be how he's treated in England by the general public there over whatever.
Yeah, and to be honest, I watched him for West Brom, and he's been fantastic for them this season. In the few games he's played, I love him as an impact sub. I think I know it was a friendly, but if you look at the Uruguay game, he came on and it was impossible to play against him because he's such good legs and
he comes on, he's so up for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he lifts the team, he lifts the fans, he lifts everything, lifts the crowd. But he certainly wasn't man of the match. I'd give him another 6. I think the last 15 minutes, him and McGeady really took control and they really had a drive of it. But there's a couple of times today where I just thought the guy needs to actually focus and not just think, okay, I'm gonna get the crowd going with tackles or flying into things, because there was a couple of times that could have led to a goal.
Especially when he was given a ridiculous yellow card, as I said before. But I think for me, for the first 75 minutes, I would have said a 5, but then he probably should have scored at the end, and he was one of only a couple of players who was driving at them, and that was probably to do with the introduction of McGeady. So I'd say probably a 6 is fair. In the middle, Robbie Brady.
Yeah, again, a little bit like Whelan, just anonymous. I mean, that's a position I would have loved to have seen Brady in, and I actually think that's one of his best positions. I think when he was with Hull originally, he played some of his best games in a kind of number 10 role. My favourite position for Brady would be on the right, where he can cut in, where he can put in.
I was just about to say.
Some in-swing crosses, or else on the right-hand side of the midfield 3, like he did in France. It didn't really do much. He did get his foot in the ball a few times and did turn and face, which not many of the players are capable of doing. I think he lacks a bit of pace, and sometimes he can lack a bit of control. To be honest, I think he was isolated like long. In the number 10 role, you have to have your wingers playing off you. You have to have your central midfielder supporting you, and he didn't have any of that. So again, isolated.
Out of 10?
Out of 10, I give again another 6, because didn't do anything major. A couple of nice deliveries and then some pretty poor ones as well. But again, I don't think it's really Brady's fault. I think it's the way we were set up tonight.
I'd agree with that. I'd probably give him a 5 or a 6, just based on his set piece deliveries, where apart from one free kick in the first half, were pretty good the whole way through the game. He was a bit lost, but again, don't think that was his fault. Probably would have been better suited playing on the right. Maybe putting Walters down the middle. Sure, look, we will wait and see what happens on Tuesday.